Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back under the video from 6, and today we are checking out lore accurate Itachi will shiver your timbers. So I want to check this out because I really enjoyed the lore accurate Minato is scary, and Minato and Itachi, both my favorite characters because they're just so freaking cool and just so awesome. So let's check out why lore accurate Itachi is a pretty damn scary guy.
Following the events of the Nine Tails attack on the Hidden Leaf Village, the relationship between the Leaf and one of its founding clans began to become even more strained. Some of the Leaf Village leaders believed the Uchiha must have been behind the Nine Tails attack on that night, and the Uchiha believed they were being treated unfairly. With the coup d'etat seeming inevitable, the Uchiha clan had to be eradicated to prevent future problems for both Konoha and the Land of Fire. Although two men successfully eradicated the clan, the Leaf only chose one man to actually carry out the mission, or I guess I should say one boy, and that
Was
was
Itachi?
Itachi
Yeah,
Uchiha.
they're
But
like
why Itachi? Why would Konoha leave such an
because
important
he's so
mission in the hands of a
goddamn
12 or
powerful.
13-year-old? The answer,
Because he's so strong. Because he's the man.
in a nutshell, is just that Itachi is impressive in every way that a shinobi can be. At the age of 7, Itachi thought like a Hokage, and although this statement has
He's the
mostly been
man.
taken out of
The
context since it was
man.
made, which I'll elaborate on in a second, when Itachi was even younger, something arguably more important would happen. At an extremely young age, Itachi experienced the aftermath of a battlefield from the Third Great Shinobi World War, and it turned him into a pacifist and peace-loving person. In the anime, we're told Fugaku brought him here, while the manga just leaves it ambiguous as to how Itachi got there. Nonetheless, this helps inform Itachi's decision as well as the choice to select him for the Uchiha clan's massacre. So, what does it mean for Itachi to think like a Hokage at 7 years old? Contrary to what you may believe, this does not mean that Itachi had the intellect of a grown man at this young age.
Okay, yeah, that's
It
fair.
means that he was willing to put the village first ahead of everything else while he was just this young, which is the mindset all Hokage should have, and we see this time and time again. The details of Hashirama's death are scarce, but in Tsunade's words, he died in vain fighting for the village. Tobirama died to protect the next generation and selected a Hokage to succeed him just before he died. And who did he select? Hiruzen, who in the same scene was talking about sacrificing himself for the sake of his teammates and village. Minato sacrificed himself just to keep the Biju balance in check, leaving half of the Nine Tails in exchange for his
What
own
a
life.
legend.
Tsunade healed the
Legend!
entire village and protected them from Pain's chaotic Shinra Tensei before withering up and falling into a coma from chakra exhaustion. And even Danzo, in his final moments, finally was able to take that step of self-sacrifice that Hiruzen was willing to on that mission with Tobirama and on the day of Konoha Crush with Orochimaru. So while Itachi was extremely smart at this age, which you really can't deny, thinking like a Hokage is meant to denote that Itachi has the Hokage mindset. Putting the village before yourself and all else is exactly what Itachi did, and that mindset alongside his strength is why he was chosen for such an important mission. Now, it's been stated by Sasuke and basically confirmed by the fact that Itachi got help from Obito that he can't really beat the entire police force alone. However, that doesn't mean he's not stronger than all of them individually or even wouldn't be able to take on a team of them. We see in the flashback at the end of part 1 that Itachi can take down 3 of the Uchiha police officers with little to no difficulty, even while they have their Sharingan on. These are full-fledged Uchiha shinobi struggling to get off the floor from Itachi's assault, and that's only with him using taijutsu.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty consistent that he's above the likes of the random Uchiha around the village, even if they're in a group trying to jump him. Whether or not Itachi is stronger than his father Fugaku, somewhat vague in the manga. See, in the manga, Fugaku has absolutely nothing going for him. We know he's the captain of the police force, so I wouldn't be too mad if someone were to conclude from that he's one of the strongest on the police force, although there is no outright confirmation of it. Fugaku in the manga does
Yeah, but wasn't he also... Wasn't Fugaku one of the Kage candidates alongside Minato and Orochimaru? Or am I remembering that, like, wrong? I might be wrong. So, it must be potentially, like, up there.
not have his Mangekyo Sharingan. He's never given the nickname Wicked Eye. Itachi never says that Fugaku is a bad matchup for him. He's never stated to be a Hokage candidate. Basically,
Oh,
anything you heard about Fugaku that was cool was either
oh,
filler
right.
from the anime
Yeah.
or stated in a novel somewhere.
Right.
The novel doesn't do him justice here. as it stated multiple times that both Itachi and Shisui are stronger than Fugaku.
Well, yeah.
And again, in the novel, he does not have the MS at all. This is where I would comment on Itachi versus Shisui, but all I'll say for now is that Shisui is similar to Fugaku. Anything cool you heard about him was either filler or stated in a novel. Following the events of the massacre, Itachi becomes a rogue ninja and joins the Akatsuki as a spy for the Leaf Village. The first thing we know he did as an Akatsuki member is effectively boot Orochimaru out of the organization.
Yeah.
A quick genjutsu with a little bit of dismemberment, and Orochimaru is so terrified of Itachi
He's just
that he
gone.
flees the Akatsuki and doesn't contact them for 7 years. But what is this powerful genjutsu that Itachi used on Orochimaru? It's called Demon Illusion Shackle Stakes, and it has an entry in the third data book.
Oh, okay.
The genjutsu enabled by the Saimongan, or the hypnotic eye ability of the Sharingan. Anyone caught in the world of the mind created by the caster finds himself tormented by a feeling of having stakes driven into each of his 4 limbs.
That's painful. So it's not happening, but it feels like it. That's just like, ah.
And becomes completely unable to move freely. Since the victim experiences the illusion of physical pain at the same time, the jutsu is very effective for torture. It should be noted that at this point, Itachi should be able to control tailed beasts with his Sharingan, and
Yeah, of
that's
course.
including the full 9 tails. Not only is the MS stated to be all you need to control Kurama, but Itachi, due to unlocking the MS and being as skilled with Genjutsu as he naturally is, should be on the same level now that Sasuke was at in the Kage Summit, where Sasuke is stated to make the best use of the hypnotic eye of the Sharingan. Obviously, he's making the best use of it, then he would be able to do the same thing that both Madara and Obito did, which was controlling Kurama. After the Konoha Crush incident, Itachi shows back up in the village with the lie that he's trying to capture Naruto, and the real goal of letting Danzo know that he's still alive. But no one cares about that stuff. Let's talk about the power scaling. Itachi makes the elite ninja of Konoha look like jokes. Kurenai gets
Well,
his
yeah,
jutsu
this
reversed
is
and
brilliant.
sent flying into the river with a kick. And when Kakashi pulls up, he's constantly getting outplayed even while Itachi's holding back. Itachi also claims to be able to take Kakashi out in no time at all. Before he launches his assault, he tells Kisame if he takes too long with Kakashi's clone, he'd give him time for reinforcements to show up, but then says unlike Kisame, he wouldn't take any time at all. When he launches the Water Fang bullet at Kakashi's feet, Kakashi says he couldn't follow his hand sign weaving at all, and this is especially impressive given what we know about the Sharingan. Sasuke tells Deidara to weave his hand signs out of sight because no matter how fast he does them, the Sharingan can see what they are, and the fact that Itachi can weave signs even faster than that is
That's
honestly
unreal. Yeah, yeah.
ridiculous.
It's
And
absolutely
he also
class.
weaved the signs for a shadow clone in here somewhere, which makes Kurenai call him superhuman, but she doesn't even know which one is the actual shadow clone. Kakashi has to tell her, and then the clone blows up. Asuma says he can't believe how good Itachi is, and Kakashi said that he's actually even better than that, and that he hasn't begun to start showing his true strength. After another quick dialogue exchange, Itachi debuts Tsukuyomi, which gives him complete control
Mate,
over time,
Tsukuyomi-
space, and all substance.
Tsukuyomi is just such an unreal and broken ability. It's just absolutely insane. The things you can do with it and the way you can actually control how long it's lasting for the person perceiving it is just absolutely ridiculous.
And for the next 72 hours, he will stab Kakashi. This truly does not come close to describing how truly terrifying Tsukuyomi is, but luckily it has a databook entry. Amidst the insight and hypnosis possessed by the Sharingan is a supreme genjutsu, born from the aforementioned hypnosis, Tsukuyomi. Originally, people on the face of the earth lived bound by limitations like time, gravity, and space, and how people exert their abilities within those restrictions is what separates the victors from the vanquished. But in the mental world where the caster drags their opponent, the Tsukuyomi Jutsu gives them control over those very limitations. Namely, this means inside the Genjutsu, the physical world's common sense is completely irrelevant.
Thrown out the
and
window.
opposing the caster is impossible. Somebody caught into the Tsukuyomi find themselves in a strange world of infinity, their fate entirely lying inside the caster's hand. Sometimes they will undergo the torments of hell, and some other times they will repeatedly be shown a horrendous, hellish picture of agony and mayhem with no idea of when either of those will end. As a result, the poor prisoner can only wait until the collapse of their psyches. Even a body made of iron or the speed of light are powerless before this
It's just
jutsu,
unreal.
which is
Unreal.
the reason it is feared as the most powerful. It should be noted that even this limited use of Tsukuyomi on Kakashi seemed to drain Itachi quite a bit, but it's the first time we see him breathing heavy, and we know he had shown his true strength with the jutsu, or at least a glimpse of it, so it's probable he put in a decent amount of effort here, but then him and Kisame run off. This next bit has been misinterpreted for quite some time, so let's go over it.
Okay.
When Itachi is talking to Kisame about having trouble with an opponent, it's been commonly interpreted to be that he was talking about Jiraiya. However, if you actually read what's being said, it kind of makes no sense for them to be talking about Jiraiya, and it makes more sense for them to be talking about the Nine Tails or Naruto. Before I even get into it, I know the immediate reaction to hearing that is that if Naruto can give Itachi a run for his money, then Jiraiya would surely beat him, but it's more the Nine Tails part that I want to focus on. In part 1 Naruto, he's commonly referred to as the Nine Tails. It's sort of a way of dehumanizing him for certain people, but let's get into what's actually said. Kisame says, even if you might be able to take him on, I'm not so sure about me, he's in a different league. Itachi responds saying, yeah, if we faced off, we might end up killing each other. At the very least, we'd hurt each other very badly. And even if I had more backup, it probably wouldn't change the outcome. Kisame's response is what's most important to finding out who they're talking about here. Kisame says it was great finally finding him at the ramen shop, but his babysitter was one of the 3 great shinobi of Konoha legend. Obviously, Jiraiya is not his own babysitter, so the he and him they were referring to throughout this conversation is likely in reference to Naruto or the Nine Tails.
Makes sense.
I'd also like to mention it doesn't really make sense for Itachi to be this much weaker than Jiraiya. He says that even if he had more backup, it wouldn't really change the outcome. Itachi's backup that we know of is more Akatsuki members, so you could also say he's claimed to be the strongest in the Akatsuki, or at least that those stronger than him, he doesn't think it would make much of a difference in his fights. That's not really what I'm interested in discussing at this time, so I'll just move past that. Orochimaru comments that Itachi is just outright stronger than him, and we saw how easily Itachi dealt with him whenever he was just a kid joining the Akatsuki, so he should be even stronger than Jiraiya here than he would have been all those years ago. If worse comes to worse, Itachi should be able to fry Jiraiya with the genjutsu, and while Jiraiya is probably skilled enough to know how to break a genjutsu, there's no guarantee he'd be able to successfully do it on Itachi, because even if you start breaking Itachi's genjutsu, he can ramp them up in order to make it harder for you to break. Naruto starts to break Itachi's genjutsu, and Itachi notes how he's improved and simply makes it stronger so Naruto can't break it. We already have confirmation that Sannin level opponents can be caught in and subdued by Itachi's genjutsu, so Jiraiya should be easy prey for Itachi if he really wanted to. I'll comment on this a bit more throughout the video. Itachi is, in my mind, sort of in this above Sannin tier, along with people like Minato, so using the Sannin as a comparison for those guys almost seems natural. I'd also like to say that when Itachi does choose to fight Jiraiya or run into him when he's with Naruto, it's after he used Tsukuyomi on Kakashi, which is stated to drain a lot of chakra from him, and then obviously there's the problem with his eyes getting fatigued. Aside from that, Itachi doesn't do much here that you wouldn't expect from someone of his caliber to do. He beats up on Sasuke, who obviously stands no chance against him, and when Jiraiya tries to trap him, he easily gets away using Amaterasu.
True.
I would go into detail breaking down Amaterasu like I did for Tsukuyomi and the other genjutsu, but I have a whole video on Amaterasu, so I'll leave that linked in the top right corner for you to watch at your leisure. You'd expect Itachi to show up again in part 1 after this, but he doesn't do anything else. The rest of this part of the story, we see him briefly in the Akatsuki meeting during the last chapter, but other than that, he doesn't really do anything. I also want to make it known that Itachi should already have his Susanoo by this point in the story.
Oh, yeah.
He said that as soon as he awakened both of his MS abilities, the Susanoo just started to form. Here he displays both of them. However, it's unknown whether he has the Tosuke blade or even...
I was just about to say, because that's where he stores the Tosuke blade. But that's what Orochimaru has been searching for, so it would make sense. But, alright, valid.
What stage of Susanoo he's at all. But that's pretty much
That's hilarious.
Itachi in part 1. So to somewhat recap, Itachi before we move into part 2, He's stronger than the Sannin when he's a kid, likely 13 or 14. He can mentally cripple you so badly that only Tsunade can heal your brain with Tsukuyomi. He thinks a fight between him and the Nine Tails would end in a draw, and he has two Mangekyo abilities that are ridiculously overpowered.
Like,
I've kind of already talked about Itachi's first appearance in Shippuden as this 30% clone, but let me be honest, aside from debuting the fact he can point at you and put you under a genjutsu, this Itachi clone does not put on a good performance. All he does is use a fireball, grab Kakashi's shadow clone, and then get ripped apart by Naruto's massive Rasengan. We know these 30% clones are limited in their strength. For example, Itachi can't use his Mangekyo, and he probably wasn't even trying outside of that. But I just thought I'd mention he doesn't exactly do well here. Before we get into his last performance while he's alive, we have to talk about his run-in with Datara because it shows even among Akatsuki members, Itachi is elite. Datara was put under a genjutsu before he even knew he was under one, and had he been kept in the genjutsu, Itachi would have made him blow himself up. I'm sorry to do this again, but Itachi's other and last appearance while he's alive I've already covered in extreme death in another video, which I'll link in the top right, and the same thing for Obito versus Itachi. I'll just leave them both linked up there. So I send you on a trip through my videos, but it just so happens I've covered this stuff before. But that brings us to Edo Itachi, and there are a couple things I want to clear up regarding this specific version of Itachi. Edo Itachi does not have the sickness he did when he was alive, and from a stamina point as well, his eyes not being blind, he should be stronger than himself while he was alive.
Yeah.
EMS Sasuke in the data book is stated to surpass Itachi in both techniques and eye techniques upon awakening the EMS, though we see they are on the same level, or Itachi is on a higher one whenever they fight Kabuto.
Yeah, definitely.
So simple ABC scaling will let you know that Edo Itachi is stronger or relative than early War Arc EMS Sasuke, who is stronger than Sick Itachi. So Edo Itachi is stronger than Sick Itachi. This is somewhat supported by Danzo's opinion of Sasuke and Itachi's powers. He says that Sasuke and Itachi are two brothers with the same powers, and since we know Sasuke doesn't have all of Itachi's powers, he should just be talking about their levels as combatants. However, Sasuke does have the MS, Amaterasu, and Susanoo, so it is possible Danzo just didn't mean all of their powers, but they share some, but that doesn't really matter anyway. I'm just saying if you interpret it the other way, it seems pretty consistent with the scaling as well. Itachi and Nagato also seem to think that with their MS and Rinnegan, they can do anything, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm inclined to believe them.
Yeah.
I'm only really bringing this up because in reference to how Obito handled his run-in with the Akatsuki, or whether they're Edo Tensei forms, because most people would say Obito was confident he could beat the Edo Akatsuki and Kabuto here, but Itachi thinks paired with Nagato, they could beat Obito, at least Orange Mask Obito. Itachi's run-in with B and Naruto is relatively uneventful. He does briefly push back KCM Naruto and outmaneuver Killer B, but the most important part of this interaction comes from when he fights Nagato. While this fight is a 1v3, it's hard to ignore that Itachi is realistically the only reason they won this fight. Naruto and B were on death's door before Itachi came and saved them, and Itachi also landed the killing blow on Nagato, sealing him away for good. He also simultaneously shows us that for some reason he can leave his Susanoo, which is overpowered, but whatever, we'll let it slide. The only real problem for
Sure, I never thought about that. Yeah, that's ridiculous. They can just like let the Susanoo do its own thing. It's like it's meant to be like an extension of yourself, isn't it? Oh my god, yeah, that's mad.
In a fight with Nagato is his Chubaku Tensei, but there's no reason for Itachi to even let the fight get that far in the first place. Tsukuyomi or the Tosuke Blade should be more than enough to deal with Nagato before Chubaku Tensei comes out. I'm being a bit vague on this part because I do want to make an Itachi versus Nagato video in the future. The Kabuto fight is Itachi's last fight, but this is also one of the most impressive performances. Itachi consistently outplays Kabuto in this fight while protecting Sasuke, and that's not...
Well, yeah, because every enemy has his weakness. Itachi was it.
Say Sasuke didn't play his own part in the fight, I think that would be me telling a lie. It's hard to just say how impressive the performance is though, because Kabuto has a relatively unknown power level, if you will. But Itachi isn't able to go all on a Kabuto because not only does Kabuto close his eyes to Genjutsu, But Itachi can't kill Kabuto because he has to get him to undo the Edo Tensei.
Yeah, that's true as
And
well.
negates the Yamato
So he's
roster
technically
for
holding
different
back a little bit
purposes
as well.
and
Like,
Toast Blade
whoa.
as well. There's also, at the very least, an argument to be made for Itachi gaining the feats that Sasuke has in the early stages of the war when he gets to the battlefield, but it's hard to tell if Sasuke got stronger or not from his hatred, so I won't go that far. But there is your lore accurate Itachi video. Sorry for basically not uploading at all this month. Hopefully I'll be back on track in April. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like.
Not happening so far.
To the channel, so I really appreciate it. But other than that, have a nice day.
I checked this video and it was uploaded like 13 days ago. And we've had nothing since. 6, come back. What happened to Swagkage uploading? That was like a mad one. Didn't he upload in like December, like one video and then nothing? My favorite YouTubers are disappearing. But anyway, that was a really cool look at lore accurate Itachi being a scary mofo. Thanks for watching.